Hi guys, welcome along to a new video now. Today this is the weekend predictions for the Championship, League 1, League 2, Scottish Premiership, Scottish Championship, Scottish League 1, Scottish League 2 and the Premier League. So it's going to be quite a long video. Please try and watch to the end if you can. Just to give you an update, I will be doing a couple of videos tomorrow. It looks like that Reading are going to be signing a couple of players. So I'm going to do some welcome to the football club videos. They may not be to everybody's taste, but as a Reading fan, I like to welcome the new players to the club. So those videos will be done tomorrow once the transfer window is officially closed. So let's get into it now. Friday, obviously there's 3 games on Friday. There's 2 in the Championship, the 1 in the Scottish Championship. So we're going to start with the first game in the Championship, which is my team Reading away at Cardiff City. Now this is the league game. Obviously the FA Cup match at home is a completely different game. There's going to be different lineups. Both teams, well, I would say, about to say both teams are looking at playoffs, but as far as I'm concerned, I think it's out of our grasp now. I know we're still only sort of 6 points or so away. I think 9 points is now, but it's not going to happen. Cardiff, you know, they're a good side, they're a strong side, and at home, you know, they are difficult to break down. I predicted a 2-2 draw with Bristol City the other night, and we lost that game. I don't feel that we can go to Cardiff and win at the moment. I think they are just too strong at the moment, and it'd be disrespectful of me to predict a win. I did want to say a draw, but I don't want to keep predicting us to draw because it seems like I'm sitting on the fence. But if I'm honest, I'm going to go with a 1-0 win for Cardiff. I think it's going to be another 1-0 defeat. Cardiff are a decent side, and it's going to be a tough game. So moving on to the second game, and that's Derby County versus Stoke. Now this, believe it or not, is technically a relegation 6-pointer. You wouldn't at the start of the season had Derby County or Stoke City in a relegation fight. But Derby County obviously lost to Luton Town midweek. Stoke are still down there, so this is a tough one. Rooney obviously got his first goal against Luton, but for Derby to throw that kind of lead away, you know, all credit to Luton for that result. Absolutely full credit to them, but Derby shouldn't have been given away that. I'm going to have to say 2-1 Stoke. I mean, I know I'm probably going to get shot by Derby fans, but I think Stoke, they're starting to come into a little bit of form. I'm going to go 2-1 in that game, but they're only predictions, not what, you know, will happen. So moving into the Scottish Championship on Friday, the game between Partick Thistle and Ayr United. 2 decent sides. I think this is actually going to be quite a tight game, but saying that, I've gone with a 2-0 win for Partick Thistle. So that's the easy part done. That's the 3 games. So we now move into Saturday. So this could take a bit longer. Okay, so we start in the Barclays Premier League. And it's the lunchtime kickoff between Leicester City and Chelsea. 2 sides that have done really well this year. Leicester were pushing Liverpool as far as they could. 19 points is a little bit big now to ask, but they'll keep going. If they can finish second, that'd be fantastic for them. Chelsea are looking to cement that top 4, because although Manchester United, Arsenal and some of the other clubs haven't done so well this year, Chelsea aren't as clear as they'd want to be. So I think it's going to be a tight game. Again, this one's a bit tricky, but I've actually gone for a 2-1 win for Leicester in that one. Bournemouth versus Aston Villa. Now I think Aston Villa are going to be buoyed by making the Carabao Cup final this week. Bournemouth are on a really dire run of form. They lost to Norwich the other day, and as I keep saying, I don't want to repeat it, I do feel Bournemouth are one of the sides that are going to be joining Reading in the Championship. That's if we survive next season. So I think this is going to be another defeat for them, and I've gone with a 2-0 win for Aston Villa. Crystal Palace versus Sheffield United. Now, see, at the start of the season, you'd look at this game and it'd be a home banker. But Sheffield United are playing so well. They've signed a player this morning, Berge, I think his name is. I probably pronounced that wrong, Berger or Berger. But he looks pretty good. I'm going to stick with a 1-0 Sheffield United, though. I think it'll be a very close game, that one. Liverpool versus Southampton, the most obvious home win of the season. The thing is, Liverpool now are 8 wins away from being crowned Premier League champions, and fully deserved. But, you know, will they slip up at one point? You know, can they slip up? They can, but you just feel that even if they lost a few games, they'd still win the league. But I think they're going to have too much for Southampton, and I'm going to go 3-1 Liverpool. This is a big one. Newcastle United versus Norwich City. Now, Norwich got that massive win last time out against Bournemouth, and that was huge for them. I think that's going to buoy them, and going to Newcastle is never easy. Newcastle are very good at home. They're obviously also looking to strengthen in the window. I don't think Norwich have done much. Correct me if I'm wrong. So I'm going to have to go with a 1-1 here. I think it might just be a draw, but that's only like I said, they're only predictions. Sorry, if you're wondering why I'm moving, I'm on a chair, sort of sitting up on it. Watford versus Everton. Now, again, this is a slightly trickier game. I think that Everton have improved recently. Watford were doing quite well under their new boss, and they're still doing okay. I think this is going to be a challenge too far. So I've got 2-0 to Everton in this one. West Ham United versus Brighton. Again, a bit like the Championship game with Derby and Stoke. This is a relegation fight. This is a relegation game. It's a 6-pointer again. I don't think you can go as far as to say whoever loses this would go down, because I still think it's very tight at the bottom. But what I would say is that the team, if there is a team that loses this game, they're going to have a very, very hard end to the season. Now, I have looked at West Ham's next 8 fixtures. It came up on Sky Sports earlier. It does look difficult for them, because they've, apart from playing, I think, Watford, so Wolves, and I think Southampton, they've literally got to play the top 6. So this is a massive one for them, and I think I'm gonna give it to them. I think that they can do this, but I'm gonna go 1-0 West Ham. The 5:30 kickoff: Manchester United versus Wolverhampton Wanderers. I think Manchester United fans are getting sick and tired of playing Wolves. But obviously they got the news through today that Bruno Fernandes has signed, so that's good news for them. Obviously, by the time this kicks off, they may have signed some more players tomorrow. Again, Wolves might have done. So these predictions are being done before the end of the transfer window. So there could be some big transfers that could make my predictions look stupid. Not that they're not already. I want to say 2-0 Man United, but Wolves do score. And United have been they did lose at Burnley, and I'm going to go with 2-1 Man United. I think that maybe it could bring a new sort of bit of I think winning that game against Manchester City, although they lost the tie, winning the game, I think, has given them a little bit of confidence. So I can see them winning that one. So we go into, because I'm using the fixtures, it goes into Scottish Premiership. So we're going to go into the Scottish Premiership first. Okay, and Hibernian versus St Mirren. Now that's a tricky game. Hibernian have been doing very well at home this year, as I said before. I'd have to go with a 1-0 win for Hibernian in that one. Kilmarnock, I do apologise, Kilmarnock versus Ross County. Ross County have had a difficult couple of games, obviously, against Celtic and Rangers. So now they're going away to Kilmarnock. They want to get some points. I think they can. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw in that game. Livingston versus Motherwell. Tricky. You have to look at it from two ways. Excuse me. But I think Motherwell, away from home, do travel well. So I'm going to go 2-0 Motherwell. Big game here, Rangers versus Aberdeen. Now, Rangers did get the job done in midweek against Ross County. They're trying to catch up to Celtic. They really do want to win the league. I think they've got a strong chance. They have to win this game, and I think they will. I think they'll win it by 3-0. And finally, in the Scottish Premiership, you've got St Johnstone versus Hearts. Now, Hearts had that win against Rangers last weekend, which surprised everybody. They're doing well. They're trying to fight. I can see them nicking this 2-1. I think, yeah, I'm going to go with a 2-1 win for Hearts in that game. Okay, so we are moving into the Championship, and we have the 12:30 kickoff between Hull City and Brentford. This is a little bit of a tricky tie here. I think you've got to look at both teams. Again, they're in that sort of bracket of trying to go up. Brentford seem to be a little bit stronger. They did lose to Nottingham Forest, but they are looking good. So I'm going to see them bounce back here with a 2-0 win. Birmingham City versus Nottingham Forest. For me, Nottingham Forest have been getting better and better week in, week out. Birmingham City are doing okay, but I think the Forest are going to have too much for them. I'm actually going for a 3-1 win for Nottingham Forest. Charlton Athletic versus Barnsley. Now, these are the two sides that came up from League One last year. Charlton have done better, but they both struggled recently. I think Charlton will nick this one 1-0. I think that they're a good side and they can win that at home. Fulham versus Huddersfield Town. Huddersfield, they've been a bit hit and miss this season. I think sometimes they've got results and then there've been other games where they haven't. Fulham have done really well at home, and now that Leeds and West Brom are starting to stutter now and again between themselves, it's given teams like Fulham that, we don't have to go through the playoffs, let's get automatic. So I do think Fulham will win this 3-0. I think it'll be a good game for them. Leeds United at home to Wigan Athletic. I don't know. I mean, I had them down for the Millwall game. I thought it was going to be simple for them, and they were just going to walk it. Credit to Millwall. They've gone 2-0 up, but then fair play to Leeds for coming back 3-2. I don't think they're going to lose this game. I'm going to go 2-0 to Leeds. Okay, moving on. Middlesbrough versus Blackburn Rovers. Now, this is a really tough game to call. I'm not too sure what I'm gonna go here. This is the only one that I haven't got a prediction for yet. I've got all the others in my head. I'm gonna go 1-0 Blackburn. I may be completely wrong, but I'm gonna go 1-0 Blackburn. Preston North End versus Swansea City. Now this is again two sides which are in that little batch of teams that, a bit like us, if you lose at some you sort of think, yeah, it's too far. But if you win some, you're like, oh, that playoffs is getting closer. So I think they're both going to want this, but I'm going to give it to Preston. I'm going to go 2-0. 2-0 to Preston. Queen's Park Rangers versus Bristol City. Now, Bristol City got that win against us in the week. QPR has slightly slowed their goals down a little bit at home. But then I think I can see this being a goal fest. So I've gone 3-2 to Bristol City. Sheffield Wednesday versus Millwall. I think Millwall had that wonderful, game with Leeds the other day. And I can see this one being the same, but this time I can see them winning it. And I've gone 2-1 Millwall. West Brom versus Luton. Now I think for Luton, that win against Derby, will give them masses of confidence. But I think that confidence is going to be short-lived because I've got 4-0 West Brom, I'm afraid. Okay, so moving on to League One. Alright guys, we're going to move on to League One now. I do apologise for that short break. I was trying to lean on a chair and my legs have gone to pins and needles, so I'm now leaning up against my desk. So I apologise if it looks a little bit weird. So League One. Accrington Stanley versus AFC Wimbledon. This is another tricky one to call. I've actually leaned more towards Accrington Stanley. I think that although Wimbledon are fighting relegation, I just think that Accrington are going to have too much in their locker for them. So I've gone for a 2-0 win for Accrington Stanley. Bolton Wanderers versus Tranmere. Now, Bolton, they're going through a difficult patch. Obviously, they're trying to, they still can survive, but it's starting to get a little bit less and less each week. And I appreciate that, obviously, Thogden has got them to go down, but I still think that they're going to cause some miraculous pitch invasion, and he's going to have a vlog and a half because they're going to survive. But I think this is a game they can win. I really do. I mean, Tranmere have had a really difficult run recently. Obviously, the 6-0 from Man United was difficult enough, but then they've lost again in the league. They haven't scored in 2 games. Bolton have, signed a lot of new players. I'm going for a 2-0 win for Bolton. I honestly think they can win that. Bristol Rovers versus Coventry City. Now, sounds like a repeat of the FA Cup match between the two of them, but I think Coventry are, again, they're sort of looking towards that top half. And for me, as a neutral, looking at League 1 and 2, they're getting so competitively tight at the top. It's really exciting. And there's quite a few teams that can still get promoted, but I think Coventry are definitely one of them. There's a chance they can still win the league. Sunderland can still win the league. There's a lot. Ipswich can still, so can Wickham, and it's looking good. But I think Coventry are going to win this one 2-0 as well. 2-2-0s. So Fleetwood Town versus Doncaster Rovers. I think this is going to be a very tight game. Doncaster have started a little bit recently with form, but that being said, I think that they can bounce back here. Fleetwood have not been too strong at home, but I'm actually going to go with a 1-1 draw, to be honest. Ipswich Town versus Peterborough United, a sort of a wider range Anglian derby. Not quite as big as the one with Norwich, but it's still kind of a derby. I'm stuttering on this one, not deliberately. It's a really tricky game to predict, but I'm going to say 2-2. I think it's going to be goals in this game, but I'm not sure which of them will come out on top. Milton Keynes Dons versus Wycombe Wanderers. Obviously, I'd just like, actually at this point, coming on to the Wycombe Wanderers game, I'd like to send my deepest thoughts to the friends, the family, and the Wycombe Wanderers supporters, to the family of the Wycombe Wanderers fan that was taken ill at their game last week, this week even, sorry, and he passed away, unfortunately. So deepest thoughts go out to his family and his friends. No one likes to see it in football. It's sad. It was unfortunate, but obviously I wish his family and his friends all the best, and hope that they'll be okay. But the deepest condolences there, and rest in peace to that fan. On the pitch, I think that obviously it'll be emotional for them, but I think they can get the job done at MK Dons, and I think that they'll win by 3-1. Oxford United versus Blackpool. Now, Oxford and Blackpool in the transfer window have been raiding Reading, from what I'm hearing in reports, so there could be a lot of our players in that game. I think, to be fair, Oxford at home, they are doing really well. Yeah, it's not too bad. I think that they've done okay. So I think it's going to be 2-1 to Oxford. Okay, sorry, apologies again for my hand coming across the screen there. I just got a text from the partner. The bearded dragon was out next door and the heater was on. I was trying to turn that off and sort him out. So anyway, back to where we were. So Oxford United against Blackpool, gone 2-1 to Oxford. Moving on to Portsmouth versus Sunderland. Now, this is a huge game. Both teams have hit the right run of form at the right time. And I think, to be honest, it's going to be a very, very tough game. And I'm going to go with a 2-1 Sunderland win. I think they're going to sneak this one. Rochdale versus Shrewsbury. Now, obviously, Shrewsbury is still ruining from that wonderful game with Liverpool. And they'll be very much looking forward to their replay. I think they'll win this one 2-0. Personally, they've not done too bad, so I think they'll win that. Excuse me again. Apologising a lot in this video. Rotherham versus Burton Albion. Rotherham, for me, have got a lot better, and it's sort of, they finished the season stronger. They worried people sort of at the start of the year. They were doing not so great, and now they've really started to kick into form. I think they'll win this game 3-0. Southend United versus Lincoln City. Now, Lincoln have got themselves on a really good run of form. They're trying to get away from the bottom half, which they are doing, getting themselves into mid-table and see where it takes them. You never know towards the end of the season. And I think they're going to win this game 2-0. So we move into League 2 in England. And we start with Cambridge United at home to Colchester United. Now, Cambridge have had a disastrous run of form. They haven't picked up many points at all, and they're slipping towards that relegation part. But again, as I said in other videos, we don't know really what's going on with promotion relegation in League 2 yet, nationally with the situation with Bury. So Cambridge have got to be careful. I actually think they're going to lose this one as well. I think it's going to be 2-0 to Colchester. So that could be an interesting one to watch for Cambridge. Cheltenham versus Morecambe. Probably the reason that Cambridge might survive, how poor Morecambe have been this season. Well, between them and Stevenage. But I think I can see Morecambe losing this game again. And I've gone with a 1-0 win for Cheltenham. Crawley Town versus Scunthorpe United. Crawley have been a little bit hit and miss. I think that Scunthorpe are doing not too bad. They're getting some results here and there. So I'm going to go with a 2-1 win for Crawley. Grimsby Town versus Forest Green Rovers. An interesting match. Grimsby, under their new boss, are doing quite well. Forest Green Rovers are also one of those teams in League 2 at the top, in that top half that are trying to break promotion. I think Forest Green will win this 2-0. I think they're a good enough side and they'll go away and get that result. Macclesfield Town at home to Northampton Town. Now, obviously we know there's still a lot of problems going on at Macclesfield Town, but they're getting the results. They had that points deduction, but they're getting the results to sort of keep themselves afloat. But I do think Northampton will win this game. They just seem to be too strong. I've said on many videos that for me, Northampton Town are promotion guarantees this year. I am a betting man, but if I would put money on Northampton. I'm very tempted to do it. I keep saying I'm going to do it and I don't, but I really think they will get promotion this year. And I think they're going to win 3-0. Mansfield Town versus Carlisle United. Now this is a little bit of a tricky one. Mansfield are a little bit hit and miss at home. Games that they're supposed to win, they sort of can draw, and games they're supposed to lose, they can win, and they're a little bit of a hit and miss team. Carlisle are slightly the same. For that reason, I've gone for a 1-1. Oldham Athletic versus Bradford City. One of the bigger games, in my opinion. They're two big sides of this, that they shouldn't be in League 2. Bradford again have lost Doyle. He's gone back to Swindon, I believe. I'm going to say 2-1 Oldham. Plymouth Argyle versus Newport County. Now, not quite a derby because they're quite well away from each other. But I think Plymouth will definitely win this. I think it's going to be 2-1 to Plymouth. Newport County have been getting some good results, but I think Plymouth are going to be a little bit too strong at home. Port Vale versus Salford City. Now, Salford have been buying players. Obviously, what I am going to just say on this point, I'm going to do, when I do a run back of the transfer window, I'm going to break through all the transfers that have gone on in the Premiership, Championship, League 1, League 2, National League. If I can get the National League ones, I will do them. Same with Scotland. So I'm going to do another video on that as well. So if you aren't able to find out who your team gets, then I'll be doing that video. But with Salford, they've been buying a few. I think they're going to win 2-1. Stevenage versus Leyton Orient. Now, again, this is a little bit of a tricky one. Stevenage have not been brilliant, but then they have got a couple of good results recently, and you wonder, are they now on the upturn? Is it not? Leyton Orient are a good side, so I'm actually going to go for a 2-0 win for Leyton Orient. Swindon Town versus Exeter City. Now, this is a really good game. Exeter are in that top half, along with Swindon Town. Obviously, Swindon leading the league. It's going to be a massively difficult game. But I'm going to predict a goal fest and a 3-2 win for Exeter City. Walsall versus Crewe. Interesting game this. Walsall have had an upturn in form, and I think that Crewe might find this a little bit more tough. So I'm just going to go for the 1-0 win for Crewe in that one. So moving on into the National League. Okay, oh, some interesting. I haven't seen the fixtures yet. So interesting games here. So the 3 o'clocks in the National League: AFC Fylde versus Boreham Wood. I'm not too sure about this one. I think Boreham Wood, for me, again, they're a bit of a hit and miss side, but I like them. I think they're a very good side. I'm going to give them this by 2-0. Aldershot Town against Harrogate Town. Aldershot have been struggling. Harrogate haven't been on a massively good run of form, but I'm going to say 1-0 to Harrogate Town. Barnet versus Hartlepool United. For me, this is a league fixture. It shouldn't be in the National League, but we are where we are. But I'm going to go 2-1 Barnet. Barrow versus Torquay United. Now, this is a fixture, again, between two sides that have had fantastic seasons. Barrow could pretty well be playing in League 2 next season, and they'd thoroughly deserve it. Torquay United are hoping to join them through the playoffs. Again, we don't know how that's going to work, but I'm sure they can. I've got this down as a 1-1 draw. Eastleigh versus Woking. Now, Woking, for me, don't travel brilliantly. They've not had massive success, but they have done really well this year. So I think they're going to break that duck and they'll win by 1-0. Ebbsfleet United versus Sutton United. No, it's not a United derby. I think that this could be an interesting game. Both teams are quite as strong as each other. So I'm definitely going to go for the draw, but I'm going to go 2-2. I think there'll be goals in it. AFC Halifax Town against Bromley. Okay, this is an interesting tie for me. I've been having sort of 2-0, 2-1 back and forth in my head, but I'm actually going to change it completely and go for a 3-1 win for Halifax. Solihull Moors against Maidenhead United. Now, for me, I think that this game can go one of about 63 different ways. I am struggling with it, but I'm going to go with a 1-0 win for Solihull. Stockport County versus Dover Athletic. Stockport County have actually they've changed their form round and they've got a lot better. I think they're going to continue that, and I'm going to go for a 3-0 win for Stockport. Wrexham versus Dagenham and Redbridge. Now, Dagenham, another one of the sides that have signed one of the Reading youngsters. I believe it's Ben House. Don't quote me on it. He's a good little striker. I think he could bring goals to Dagenham. So I'm actually going to... I don't know whether he'll play or not, but I'm going to go for a 2-1 win for Dagenham. Yeovil Town versus Chorley. Interesting game. I think Chorley have definitely held their own in the National League. A lot of people thought they'd be the whipping boys, but they haven't been that. They've had a few difficult results, but they've played well. But I think this is going to be a 2-0 win for Yeovil. Okay, the 5:20 game, Notts County versus Chesterfield. Now, like I said on the last game, there's sometimes on BT Sport they have National League games in the evening, and this is one of them. So, obviously, if you're not watching Manchester United Wolves, give it a watch. You know, the National League is some really good football, and it doesn't get the accolades that it deserves. This is why I'm doing this channel as well, to sort of promote the National League as well. So I think it's going to be Notts County 2, Chesterfield 1. So moving down to the Scottish Championship. Dundee United versus... a bit strong tonight. Dundee United against Arbroath. For me, this is quite an easy one. This is a 3-0 win for Dundee United. They're a very strong side in that league. Inverness Caledonian Thistle against Alloa Athletic. A tight game this, but I've gone 2-1 Alloa. Greenock Morton versus Dundee. This is a tricky one for me. I was umming and ahhing about this, but in the end I had to settle with a 1-1. Queen of the South against Dunfermline. For me, Dunfermline and Queen of the South are two very strong sides who both deserve to be at a higher level. And I think Dunfermline will win this game 2-0. Okay, so moving into Scottish League 1. And it's Airdronians versus Wraith Rovers. I think Wraith will win this one 2-0. Wraith are doing very well this year, and I think that they will continue that. Okay, it's my Scottish team, East Fife. For those that haven't watched the videos before, I've said that I support East Fife in Scotland. More follow than support, because I'm a Reading fan by heart, but I do have a soft spot for East Fife, so I always keep an eye on their results and stuff. So, East Fife versus Dumbarton. I think it's going to be a very tight game, but I think that Dumbarton will win that 2-1. Forfar Athletic against Clyde. For me, I'm not so sure, but I'm going to go with a 1-0 win for Forfar. Montrose versus Peterhead. Now, Peterhead have been getting some really good results in Scottish League 1, and they've been surprising a few people, and I think they'll do it again here, and I think they'll win by 2-0. Stranraer against Falkirk. Again, two teams that should not be in this league. They should be up higher, but I think this game's going to finish 1-1. Okay, so we move into the final league in Scotland, and that's League 2. That's Albion Rovers versus Cove Rangers. For me, Cove Rangers have done really well since coming to Scotland, and I think they're going to continue that again. I've gone with a 3-0 win for Cove. Annan Athletic against Stenhousemuir. Two sides, evenly matched, but I think Annan will have just too much, and I've gone 2-1 to Annan. Brechin City against Elgin City. I've got this down as a 0-0 draw. I think these two sides are so good that they're just going to cancel each other out. So I've gone 0-0. My first 0-0. Edinburgh City versus Stirling Albion. I think that Edinburgh City at home they've shown that they've made their home, a difficult place to go, like a fortress. I think that'll continue, and I've gone 2-1 to Edinburgh City. Queen's Park versus Cowden Beath. Tricky one. I think that Queen's Park will probably just have too much in this one. I've gone 1-0 to Queen's Park. So that, guys, is Saturday done. So I'll just lift my cursor on my laptop to Sunday, and we go to the Premier League games on Sunday. Excuse me. It's Burnley versus Arsenal. I think Burnley at home has always been a tricky game for Arsenal, but Arsenal have made signings that they didn't think they were going to make in the window, and they have. So more could come tomorrow. Like I said, we don't know who's going to sign who tomorrow. I'm going to go 2-0 Arsenal. I'm going to give them the edge on this one. Tottenham versus Manchester City. For me, this will kind of put Manchester City in their place, in the way that they've just been beaten by their local rivals. Yes, they've made the cup final, but they still lost that game, and they didn't look that convincing. I think Tottenham could pull off a shock here. I'm going to go 1-0 Spurs. Bit of an interesting one there. Scottish Premiership. Hamilton Academicals against Celtic. Hamilton have done really well this season, but I don't think they're going to beat Celtic. Celtic 4, Hamilton 0. So that concludes. Let me just double check. So, Women's League, yep. That's Sundays. So let's just going to go and see if there's any Monday night football. I normally miss the Monday night game, and on this occasion there isn't. Okay, guys. So that concludes the predictions video for the midweek, for the weekend fixtures. So thank you very much for watching. Please stick around for tomorrow. There's going to be a few transfer videos, bringing the Reading players in that we sign, also having a look at players that have signed, and then anything else that you guys sort of say that you'd like to see videos on, please just leave comments, let me know. I don't mind, I'll reply to all comments, good or bad, and we can make some more videos for you. Apologies for the levels of this video. I'm sitting on a chair behind my desk, so it's not the best view, but thank you for sticking out and watching it to the end. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you to the new subscribers. It's much appreciated. And enjoy your weekend. Enjoy transfer deadline day tomorrow. And good luck to the Cardiff guys tomorrow. And take care, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Bye.